Everybody, welcome to the episode. You join me in slightly different circumstances today with a kind of different kind of episode, to be honest with you. For one really frustrating reason, to be honest with you. But yeah, you join us at the end of the season here in season 4 with AKUREYRI in Iceland for our Forging a Nation save. I'll just say it now, basically, about a week ago here in the UK, for those of you who are not from the UK, and I don't know whether it affected everyone in the country, but I live in the Northwest, and we had really bad, strong winds, and I don't know if that's why, but basically, overnight, my electrics went off. So you might think, oh, you got lights on, though. Yeah, basically, the lights aren't affected, the lights are on a different circuit, and I have electricity downstairs, but upstairs, I can't turn plugs on or anything because it just trips. So my office where I do all my recording is upstairs, so I can't do any recording up there because I can't plug my laptop in. I can't have my second monitor, and there's nowhere really for me to bring it all downstairs to. So I'm currently recording this in my kitchen, yeah. It's just going to be a summary of season 4 because, like I said, because I've not been able to record, I was hoping it was going to be sorted by now, but I've kind of just been playing through the season so as not to lose any time. Yeah, so you join us at the end of the season. Don't worry, not much has happened. This is just going to be a summary. I hope that's okay with everyone. But yeah, for those who like a TLDR, or in this case a TLDW, we stayed up. Hey everyone, welcome to the episode. So yeah, the only other issue I have is, as well, as I don't actually know when I'm going to be able to upload this, because for some reason in my house there are only Ethernet LAN ports upstairs on the first and second floor. I live in an old sort of townhouse basically, so it's over 3 floors. There's no internet ports downstairs for some bizarre reason, so I actually have no Wi-Fi. I've not had any Wi-Fi for a week. So yeah, I don't actually know when I'm going to be able to upload this video. I might have to wait until I go to my parents, or even if I go into work and just upload it using the work Wi-Fi on my lunch or something like that. That's assuming I can edit it, because the software I use, I need to log into. So I'm hoping I can do it offline. Otherwise, this is just going to take a while to get out. But yeah, the last episode I actually recorded over a week ago, and that's why it only went out on the Tuesday, because I had to edit it on my lunch in work and then upload it that way. But one thing that came to my attention towards the end of last week, after I'd actually recorded that episode, was that View from the Touchline, I'll put their Twitter handle down below, are actually, one of their creators is doing a tactical recreation blog, like a Fernando Diniz type recreation, with our team, with AKUREYRI, and they are trying to implement Diniz's tactics with them. So he's doing a blog on that. So I'll put the link for the blog and the link for their Twitter down below. So be sure to check it out, especially if you are interested in the tactical side of things and tactical recreations. So I think the first place to start, like I said, we stayed up, and I think the first place to start is the league. And for the first season since we've been here, the team that won the cup, so in this case Vikingur Reykjavik, didn't get relegated. Up until now, every team that's won the cup has gone down. And we finished the season in 8th before the split, so we didn't get top 6 this time. But we did end up comfortably staying up. We secured survival with 2 games to go. And as you can see, we finished 12 points clear of the drop zone in the end. Elsewhere in the Cups, it was kind of a similar story. Knocked out in the 4th round this time rather than the quarterfinals. I think I think they came 2nd or not. I'm not sure. The group stage cup, though, that we played, we really should have gone up. We had a very doable group stage. We played against 5 teams who I think 2 or 3 of them were in the division below, and the other 3 of them were in the division below, and 2 of them were in our division. And we ended up getting knocked out on goal difference, basically, because Vestmannaeyjar absolutely slaughtered Olafsvik. They put 6 goals past them. So that was really annoying, because we could have got to the semi-final. And, I think basically we just sort of really struggled with sort of consistency, especially when you then look at our schedule. So as you can see, win, draw, draw. And then we lost our first 6 games in the league. Again, as with last season, underlying numbers were decent, and we weren't actually getting battered like we were the season before. And then we just sort of managed to go on a 5-game win streak, including a win against top of the table Breda Blick, and that was actually their first defeat of the season after 11 games. So we went on a good run, which really helped us out. We then lost to Vikinga, then beat Keflavik, then went on another losing streak, including a 3-3 defeat to Hafnarfjordur on penalties. And then we responded with 3 wins in a row, another 4-game winless streak, and then 3 wins from our last 4 games once we got into the relegation group stage. And yeah, we had enough about us to stay up. But to be fair, as I touched on at the end of last episode, that was kind of all we wanted to do this year, given the financial problems of the club and the position we were in with the squad. And before we do touch on the squad and who's done what, and obviously more importantly the transfers, I just want to show you the little bit of news we touched on last season. So obviously the board told us they were going to build a new stadium last year, and they have actually told us the plans for that now. So it's going to be a 13,500 capacity stadium. It's going to cost £10 million, or just under £11 million to build. Now, I actually did a little bit of digging, and if we look at the stadiums in the league, so we currently share our stadium with 4 other clubs. Now, the biggest stadium is this one, Hafnarfjordur's Kaplaríkja Völa. This stadium is like less than half the capacity of what ours is going to be. So we're going to be playing in the biggest stadium in Iceland in 2 years when it's built. So obviously there's going to be like international games and stuff there. So it's really good. Like, don't get me wrong, that's really, really good. We are going to have our own stadium, massive. We just need to start selling out tickets. I'm hopeful that at that point we're going to be in Europe, but obviously the board have kind of gone, yeah, we see something here. Let's build a nice big stadium for us to play in. So, I think if we start with transfers, and as we said, we only really had one centre-half at the start of last season. And we made moves to bring in 2 new ones. Well, I'll say 2 new ones. The 2 that we brought in first were actually on loan with us last season. So Philip Hechtel Christofferson, his contract expired at Molde, so we brought him in for free. He's currently unhappy because I didn't improve the first team coaching staff, but the board won't let me, so get over it. So yeah, we brought him in on a free. He had a fairly solid season, 6.78 average for the league. He's very useful. He's okay. He'll probably stay as our main sort of part of our centre-half pairing, along with Yngvi Hjalmarsson, again, who was on loan last season. I don't like the fact that he doesn't like big matches. He's also not particularly well rated for this division, but as it is, he's kind of as good as we've got at the moment, because Alex Martinez is leaving on a free at the end of the season. He's going to Akranes, who have actually just been relegated back to the first division. And we did actually sign another one of our loan players, and that was Stefan Gisli Stephenson, who we really liked him as our right back. He showed a lot of promise last season when he came in on loan from Fylkir, and then we managed to sign him on a free when his contract expired. He's played most of our games for us at right back. He's kind of shunted Baraka Badi out. Badi basically played a little bit, did okay, and then had a few stinkers, cost us a couple of goals. So we dropped him. He then kicked up a fuss that he wasn't playing, so we then brought him back into the team. He was dropping like 6.2, 6.4, 6.3s, dropped him again because he just wasn't good enough, and obviously he wasn't happy about that. He put in a transfer request. He rejected a move away. He then withdrew his transfer request, but I still kind of want to try and get him out of the club if I can. He's got another year left on his deal, so we'll see what happens in the summer. And then another one of our loan players that we had last season, Arnie Carl Gunnarsson. Again, his contract expired again at Fylkir, a good sort of number 6 ball-winning midfielder option. We brought him in for a free. We're very happy with that. He did spend a lot of time injured this season, and we just slowly started phasing him back in towards the end of the season. But he'll stick around, I would have thought. He's also one of these players who's happy being on like a part-time contract. So we will probably try him down to like a full part-time one. He's kind of happy on like a pay-as-you-play at the moment, so he's not actually getting a salary. We just pay him based on appearances, but we'll probably look to actually tie him down properly. Now, this is one of the issues we've had, and we'll touch on why in a second, but we needed a new striker, basically. And Adrian Kurd-Rønning was someone who was available for loan. He looked decent from Vålerenga out in Norway. I feel like maybe I need to temper my expectations. He got 11 goals and 2 assists in 26 appearances. I felt like he could have done better. He had enough games where he was really poor as well. But then again, I'm also reminding myself that he is only 20. He's got pretty shocking bravery as well. So he doesn't sort of throw himself into situations as much as I would like him to. But equally, I am kind of like, well, you know what? His contract expires from Vålerenga, and when we tried to discuss it with him early on in the season, he said he wasn't interested in joining us. I don't know if that's still going to be the case. Yeah, he doesn't want to join the club under any circumstances. So we're probably going to end up losing him, which I don't think is the end of the world. The next guy we brought in was Christian Omar Isaacson, came in on loan from Breda Blick, and he was brilliant, to be honest with you. He was really, really good. 5 goals, 4 assists for the 18-year-old winger. He definitely has room to improve. Breda Blick don't really want to loan him back to me, and there's definitely no way I'll be able to afford to buy him because I just don't have the money to do so. So I'm hopeful that I can try and bring him back on loan, extend his loan, because he's a really good option for us. Like, if we can get him back out and bring him in just for that left wing. He was really, really good. So I'm hopeful that we can bring him back in. And then this brings us on nicely to probably what I would say who was our star signing. Alex Gomes came in as a free signing as well. His mentals for this level are brilliant. His vision's actually gone up when I looked earlier. Literally, this is like 2 game days ago. His vision was 9, so that's gone up. And when he joined, his finishing was 9 as well. So we brought him in initially to play as a striker, but he wasn't brilliant at leading the line, even when we were playing him as like a deep lying forward or a pressing forward or an advanced forward, as is shown by his goal output. He's another one who suffered with injuries a little bit this season. We actually ended up dropping him into number 10, and he seemed a lot more effective then. That's where he started getting these assists and playing some really nice passes. Like he was sort of like assisting the assists. So, really, really happy with him. I've got high hopes that he's going to carry on developing. For some reason, his value is 0. I don't really know why. He is someone who we could probably really look to hopefully maybe get like 500k for in a season or 2 if he develops really nicely. Probably sell him to someone like Malmö or, I don't know, like a bigger team sort of in Scandinavia, basically. And then this guy, basically the media asked us if we were interested in signing him, and I was like, I don't even know who he is. Checked him out, and I was like, he's 18, and he's decent, and he was happy to come in on a pay-as-you-play deal. So we brought him in, and actually he did really well when he played for an 18-year-old centre-half. He's developed really nicely, as you can see. He's coming on really, really well. Just needs to work on his pace a little bit, but he's really tall, so he's a good aerial threat. So we're going to offer him like a part-time contract just to try and fend off any interest from anyone else. And I think between him, Kristoffersson and Hjalmarsson will hopefully be okay centre-half-wise next season, because we've got a few other players who can play there as well. And then the last bit of business we did is we signed Aleksa Cvetkovic from Red Star Crvena Zvezda on a free signing. He's come in and he's done really well, to be fair, in that sort of, we've been playing him mainly as a deep line playmaker alongside Asmundsson, but Asmundsson's actually probably going to leave this year, as is Toby King. We kind of don't really need them, I don't feel, anymore now that we've got Cvetkovic. Thor Jonsson can play there. We've got Gunnarsson as well, and we've got a few young players like Bragason as well who can also play there. And now we move on to the significant outs. So Leon Hovland, our sort of star young player from last season, he won the award for best young player in the division. Basically came to us at the end of the season and was basically saying, I want to move to a bigger club, to a club with better players, a better division and all that. And I was like, oh, well, wait till you see the youngsters are coming through, because we'd had another good youth intake through that year. And he was like, no, I'm not going to wait, and I'm going to leave on a free at the end of the season. So you'll just lose me for nothing. So I ended up selling him. I only got 64k for him, which when we signed him for nothing, I think isn't terrible really. But that's why we ended up having to rely on Kurt Roning, because Brynjolfsson, our sort of patchy striker, he left on a free because he wanted like 1.1k a week, and obviously the club wasn't in a position to be able to afford that level of salary, especially for someone who would basically go 7-8 games without scoring and dropping absolute stinking ratings like 6.1, 6.2, and then he'd maybe score like 3 or 4 goals and then he'd drop off a cliff again. I just needed someone a bit more reliable. As it was, we didn't really get that with Roning, but equally his salary was a lot less than what Brynjolfsson's was. And Brynjolfsson actually ended up going back down to Division 1. And then finally, a deal that we didn't really want to do, we were kind of forced into. So a young player, Johan Boasen, came through our youth intake. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm probably butchering so many of these names. He was on a pay-as-you-play deal, like a youth sort of contract. And then FM24 offered him a deal. I tried to offer him a contract. He was like, no, because you're not going to be able to give me what I want because the club's skint. So he agreed to join FM24 on a free at the end of the season. So I just said, no, I'm just going to sell you now for whatever I can. And I got £2,000 for him. Not much, but it was better than losing him for nothing. At least we managed to sort of squeeze a bit of cash out of him. So what did all that mean? Well, actually, if we ignore Aferson, who only played like 47 minutes as subs, he's another youth intake player. He's a very athletic winger. But his output his end product isn't brilliant. But you know what? There might be a useful player there. It was actually Isaacson who was our best rated player with 7.05. Then we go into Haftinson, who's also going to explore his contract, his options at the end of his contract, which is actually next year for him. But we're floating the idea of trying to sell him just to see if we can get a bit of money for him. And then, so as we were saying last time, our plan was basically to play some young players. Which we did sort of manage to do. So Kowalczyk, as you can see, actually started a game. 16-year-old, our sort of young number 6. He's probably going to feature a little bit more next season now, off the bench basically, with us letting Asmundsson and Toby King leave. Siggy Jonsson, as you can see, actually did end up making some more appearances than we probably expected him to. Really, he's come on quite nicely as a result of that. He played made 9 starts and 7 sub appearances. So him and Jonsson basically have been alternating on that sort of left back slot, and hopefully he's going to get a bit more game time next year and carry on developing really nicely as a result. And then Goodmanson, another young player, he only made a sort of handful of appearances. He's not someone who I think is really good enough, to be honest with you. He's down as a striker or a number 10. He's not particularly quick. His finishing isn't brilliant. His composure's okay. His determination's good, but his heading and his passing also not brilliant. So he's a sort of he's a weird player, really. He's not sort of really good at either of the roles that he is in the squad to play. Jorlofsson, as I said, he was 18, and when he joined, he was actually 17, I believe. And yeah, he's pushed on really, really nicely. So yeah, we're really happy. Actually, no, I think he might have been 18 because I've just seen his birthdays in 2 weeks 16 days on this. Yeah, so we're really happy with him. Bragason, another player who's coming through the youth intake. He's actually our captain, just because his leadership and his determinations are so good. He was like the best sort of candidate. He played, what did he play? He made 12 starts, I think, and 10 sub appearances. And then, as I said, we already touched on Aferson, touched on Alex Gomez. So yeah, we managed to play quite a few of the youngsters in the end, and hopefully, that's kind of just going to be the hallmark of what we do. As I said, Asmundsson is leaving. He's already on 850k a week. He is decent, but that's kind of as far as it goes, and I can't really afford to be paying 850k a week for a player who is okay. And you know what, we've got players who are going to sort of try and bring through. Like I said, Jonsson can play there. Who else can play there? We've got Gunnarsson, Jvetkovic, and Bragason. So that's also the part of the reason why we're letting Toby King go. He was someone, obviously, we'd earmarked as someone to potentially get a bit of money out of, but that's not going to happen. He's on 450k a week. He doesn't want to sign a new contract anyway because he doesn't think we can offer him it. So I'm like, you know what? You might as well just go and do your own thing, see where you end up, and, best of luck to you. And I think lastly, there's not really much else to touch on. Club finances. So you'll notice that the overall balance is a lot less in the red than it was at the start of last season. Basically, our biggest expense every month is loan repayments and interest. They account probably for about 60 to 80k per month of expenditure. So, I mean, look, if I show you now, so loan repayments this month, to be fair, only 19,000, but that was mostly why we were hemorrhaging money. So what did the board do? They go, we'll take out another £4 million loan to help offset some of the losses and the help with the running of the club. And it's like, well, that's great, but you just put us in more debt now. So we're in £15 million of debt. A part of that is obviously for the stadium as well. But yeah, look at this, 4 million debt, interest, 800k. Started this year, and it's going to end in 2051 somehow. So yeah, the club's just going to continue hemorrhaging money on loan repayments until we can sort of really generate enough income for the club, hopefully from sort of European appearances and transfer sales. In terms of the national coefficients, that's the last thing. Iceland's currently 30th, but we are due to drop down a place because we had no clubs actually progress from the qualifying rounds that they got dropped into. They just all got knocked out in their first game. So their first tie, sorry. So we're not going to get anything else, and we are due to drop down to 31st. But you know what? It's going all right, considering when we started, we were 47th. So I think that's it really for where we've kind of been up to this season. Like I said, there wasn't really anything exciting going on. I wasn't really too worried about bringing it back for a game. I would have done if I'd had my electric sorted. I would have recorded an episode at like the start of the week, but yeah, I've not had any electricity to record, and I'm kind of at a point now where I finished the season and I wanted to obviously give you guys an update on where we've been and what we've been up to. So hopefully normal service will resume soon. It might be that next season, if my electric still aren't sorted, it's currently Friday, so it's not going to get sorted until next week. So it might be that I actually end up doing another sort of recap style video for season 5, and then season 6 we can start really getting hopefully back into the sort of the guts and the bones of the save really. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. We're doing pretty well. Like I said, the main thing was staying in the top flight this season by hook or by crook, and we did that a lot more comfortably in the end than I thought we would, especially after we lost those first 6 games. So I hope you have enjoyed this little summary video. I hope everything's okay with everyone. I hope you're all doing really well. If you're all enjoying Football Manager 24, you're all enjoying your saves, and I'll see you all very, very soon. So thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.